Hey guys, it's Steve Halleck of TickTocking. I figured we'd check in and do a quick live Q&A here. I got some really cool watches in today, so while people fill into the room, I'm going to start by going through one of them. This, bam, is the Urwerk EMC Time Hunter. This one's in, I think they call it Desert Sage. And let's pop down and take a look. This watch is so cool. I feel like it's one of the most underrated, underappreciated, unknown watches in the independent watch world. I have a video, actually a full review on my channel of one of the original pieces in black. They had the kind of different indications a little bit. The Time Hunter's a little bit different, but the general gist of it is the same. This is, I think, really one of the coolest things Urwerk's done, but people just don't think about it because it's so out there that nobody ever really understood it, I guess. It has a normal time display, so unlike Urwerk's usual sort of crazy hand with either discs or something like that going around, this is just a normal flat time display. And also it's, I think, maybe the only fully in-house Urwerk movements. Everything else, they generally build modules on other things. So that's kind of a cool, random, I don't know, neat fact. But anyway, the whole idea with this watch basically is that you have a Weiqi device, basically, which is the mechanism, the machine that they use to control watches. Control in this case meaning figure out the time differential of the mechanism for precision. So you can actually run a timing device on this watch that times it, and then you can change the timing there with this, what they call the fine tuning screw. So you can get it dead on accurate. So I'm going to show you how it works quickly. It has this full crank. My son, by the way, I have a 10-year-old son. I haven't had one of these in a few years, but when I had one last, he was probably like 7, and he thought this was just the coolest thing of any watch. He still talks about this watch. So you take this crank out, and you actually crank it up. Ooh, let's do it here. Build up a little bit of a sweat. I forget how many times they say to do it, so I'm just going from memory. I hope I'm even doing this right. So you do it like that, and then when you get enough, you hit this button, and up, it said I didn't do it enough. Okay, let's do it more. Okay, let's try now. So you can see it's +5 or +4 seconds or so. And that gives you the amplitude, which is how much the balance wheel is actually moving, basically. Very crude explanation of what I'm talking about there, but anyway, so you can see, so if you wanted to, I mean, +4 seconds is definitely well within what I care about as a margin. But if you wanted to, you could go back and you could make it just the tiniest bit slower here. And then you could retest it and see if you've nailed it on 0. Now, of course, it'll change depending on the position, depending on, things like that. In fact, I think you're supposed to press the button with it flat on the table. So let me see if that makes a difference, actually. Because if you're moving it at all while the thing is timing it, then of course that can screw up your result. So let's do it one more time here. Okay, let's see. We're gonna put it down. I think it says to put it down for some certain amount of time, but we're gonna do it quickly and we're gonna test. Ah, see, it did make a big difference. So now it's It went from saying it was plus 4 seconds fast to now like minus 1 or 2 seconds slow. So that's absolutely dead on. And, as good as you're going to get on a mechanical watch. But still, if you wanted to mess with it, you could still change it the slightest bit and test again. So very, very cool watch. Nothing like this has ever been attempted. And what I really like about it is, this is an anachronistic world of people coming up with crazy mechanisms that don't really make any sense, right? Because you've got watchmakers like trying to come up with stuff using technology from the 1700s, basically, to make a mechanical watch tell better time when we already have quartz watches. It's like, it doesn't really make that much sense when you think about it. But this is a basically outside the box way to use some new technology married with this old technology. And I just think it's cool. It's like such a creative way to use horological knowledge and expertise to try to make a very modern watch. This is maybe more than almost any mechanical watch out there right now. This is really a modern take on the mechanical watch. So anyway, I think it's really cool. I wanted to share it with you guys. I had it on my wrist. I haven't gone live in a while, so I figured I'd pop on. Now, if any of you have any questions, please hit them in the chat and I'll get to them. In the meantime, I thought I'd go over a little bit more of some interesting things that I've been seeing in the market lately. One of those, these are just things that I've been randomly thinking about, but I don't know if you guys are seeing this as much, or if it's just something that I'm kind of inventing, or, who knows, because I only see what I see. But I kind of feel like it's really been a couple or few years since we had a really robust Basel and Geneva fairs. Last year we didn't have them at all. The year before that, it was kind of like falling apart. None of the journalists actually wanted to be there. The brands, I think, kind of half-assed it. And because of that, I think that the industry focus on the new watches and the novelties has diminished a little bit over the last few years. So I think that's let people go back into the back catalogs of the brands that they really like and start unearthing some real gems, which is really exciting to me because I never understood, in watches which are made to last for 200 years. I never understood why it matters if it was made in 2019 or 2015. It's all the same era at the end of the day. And so I think it's really cool, actually, that you see some of these collectors on Instagram and, all over wherever you see watch stuff. That's where I tend to see it. Kind of going back and re-earthing some really cool stuff in the past, rather than focusing on like, oh, this was the brand new watch of this year and now it's black, so we got to have the black one, or now it's this and now it's that. So I think that's a really positive thing, and it's going to be good for the watch industry as a whole. And hopefully it helps to surface some entire brands too that haven't gotten much play recently. For example, I always think of Girard-Perregaux when I think of this, because I think like their triple bridge tourbillons are like some of the most incredible watches and best value out there, just because the brand has done such an insanely terrible job of managing themselves over the last decade or two that people forget that they even exist, let alone had made such an amazing product. So you can go find, when you're not as focused on what the coolest thing from Basel was this past year, you can go back and find stuff like that and say like, oh my gosh, I can get a triple bridge tourbillon for 50 grand or something like that. That's an incredible, incredible watch. So I hope that happens more and more. 2 years ago, it really looked like the watch world was going to be this winner takes all, everybody buying just the same thing at the same time world, and that everything else was going to go away. Basically, the Nautilus was going to be like the only thing left on planet Earth. But now I'm seeing some reassuring signs that people are going to find some of this other good stuff, and that the idea of building a bit of a unique collection is more valued right now. So that is really cool to me. That's probably the most positive thing that I've seen and noticed over the last couple months. Let's see if I've got any comments here or questions. Yeah, it is bizarre and eye-catching, the Urwerk, I assume you're talking to. Thoughts on Breguet tradition? I'm sorry, I don't know Breguet serial numbers, 7337. I don't really know. The only Breguet that I know the Tourbillon I've owned a few of, and I've done YouTube reviews on, so if you want to go back and see my thoughts on that and see what it's like, that's good to check out. I think that's a really cool watch. I don't love the case, but the watch itself is awesome, and I think they're a pretty nice value at where they're at. And I also think that the original tradition, just the normal like time-only mechanical, manual wind, yellow gold in particular, was an amazing watch that I think was not properly given its due. And they're really reasonably priced now. I mean, for maybe it's 12, 13, 14 grand, you can pick up mint condition complete. And that's an awesome, awesome watch. So, yeah, it's not my normal thing. It's not something you're likely to see pop up at TickTocking, but it's there. Let's see. Oh, a little bit of housekeeping. I don't know if you guys saw on Instagram, but I started a new Instagram channel yesterday, just on a whim. It's called TickTok Crypto. And every day I'm going to post a deal of some sort of watch or watch related deal. And it's going to be priced in Bitcoin there. Maybe one day it'll be another cryptocurrency if something else catches my eye. But for now, I'm pretty much Bitcoin only. And those are going to be sometimes the things that are on my site, but sometimes things that might not even be on my site. Watches that I would have wholesaled out and not put on my site. Watches for my personal collection, maybe. We'll see what goes on up there. But if you're into crypto and you're into watches, check out at TickTok Crypto on Instagram. And give me a follow and a share and a like and stuff there. We'll see if it catches on. I don't know. It was just some crazy idea I had yesterday, so I'm giving it a try. Okay, let's see other questions here. Have I ever heard of matcha? No. Have I ever owned any watches from Only Watch? Yeah, I have. I had a de Bethune a couple years ago that was like a Skybridge in platinum. That was a cool watch. When I was working with Max and MB&F, I helped, promo our Only Watch pieces each year. So I helped on the one that was an HM2, which we did with an artist named Sage Vaughn. I did all the promo stuff for that. The HM4 that had the panda sitting on it, I did all the promo stuff for that. So I had those in my possession for a while, but only as I was taking them around to press people. I didn't get to own them or anything. Let's see, have I owned any others? I don't know. The only one that I can recall owning was the that de Bethune, but maybe I've owned more. I don't know. If you went back through my Instagram, you might find another one. Sometimes I forget. The amount of cool watches that have come through this office, this metaphorical office. This one's brand new. But in general, I just forget sometimes and then remember, oh yeah, I did own that, random whatever. Let's see, anything else here? Not a ton of questions today. Maybe you guys have all gotten your questions answered somewhere else or at some other time, or, there's nothing interesting left in the universe. Who knows? One weird thing, I bought just a random thing to either look forward to watching or avoiding on my channel. I bought a watch from, I think they're called Blackout Concept. It's these guys, they made like a kind of Richard Mille looking thing. They're in Switzerland. It's like $1,500 and it's a carbon cased Richard Mille looking tourbillon thing. And it kept coming up in my feed somehow. And I figured I gotta see this thing for myself. So I just bought one, and whenever I get it, I'm gonna do a YouTube review on it. I bought it with my own money. So I have no problem completely shredding it if it's a complete piece of crap. But we'll see. Maybe it's really cool. Maybe it's crap. We'll see. Totally honestly, that's something. Something random. Anyway, I think that's going to come in the next couple months. Normally, I never take things for free, like watches or anything. Somebody asked me on another one of these or somewhere, like how I go about getting brands to give me watches to review. And I don't think they understand what's happening here. Like, I only review watches that I own. And then they're almost all for sale after that. But everything is in my possession and it's all mine. So I'm not beholden to anybody in them giving me stuff. And I can totally say, you know, whatever I think about something, although I tend not to, I don't just buy watches that I don't like. So you'll find only really effusive praise for me because it's stuff that I picked out with my own taste. But this little $1,600 Richard Mille-like tourbillon is something different. I'm totally happy to shred it. I have no idea if it's good or not. The only other thing that I've accepted recently, that I kept seeing these pop up. You guys seen this thing? This watch stand? This guy's asked me several times if he could give me one and I give him a shout out or something like that. And I thought it was a joke at first. I was like, a watch stand? Like, what is this? Is this a thing that people would buy? And then I saw them pop up on a bunch of other dealers' websites and stuff like this and Instagram. And finally, he asked me again the other day if he could send me one. And I was like, fine, send it to me. I'll check it out. So he did. I'm still not sure what to do with it. It is pretty nice. It's like, a little marble base and, nicely made. I'm not sure that I would pay a few $100 for it, but now it's sitting on my desk. That's the only thing anybody's ever actually given me or that I've allowed them to give me. Sometimes they ask if they can. But that being said, if Urwerk or MB&F or Grubel Forsey or Debethune or, any of these guys would love to give me a watch, I'm happy to accept it. All right, let's see what's going on in the comments here. Sorry, I'm just scanning. I am on Clubhouse. Somebody asked if I'm planning to join Clubhouse. I'm on Clubhouse. So far, I find it to be terrifically boring, and it hasn't caught my attention at all, but I'll keep checking in and trying. Some of these are funny. Did I see the Casio Oak? I did see that. I liked it. I'm totally in on that. I tried to get actually one of the sort of clear ones. I don't know what it's called. It's like some sort of transparent material, but they were sold out. I'm sure they're gettable, but I didn't have the time or bandwidth to go through and try to figure out where to find one. But I thought that was a cool design. I love Casio. I mean, I was a Casio kid. I don't know that I've ever wanted a watch more than I wanted the original calculator Casio watch. So I'll always have a place in my heart for Casio. Seems like some other people think that Clubhouse is boring as well. Thoughts on Journe Chronos Souverain Dubai? I don't know. I don't know what the Dubai edition is of that. Maybe I've missed it. Is it something new? Are they still making a Chronos Souverain? I'm not really sure. The Chrono was always a weird one, the Journe Chrono, whereas like all their other watches had the dial screwed on to the main plate, but the Chrono had the main plates screwed onto the dial. I always thought that was a weird watch. The last one I bought, it was a rose gold Chrono, 38 millimeter with the rose movement. I bought only I think it was 2.5 years ago or something. I paid 19 grand for it. And I'm pretty sure that's like a $250,000 watch or something like that in the current market. So total, complete insanity. I have no idea who is paying this sort of money for these watches, but it's insane. I don't support it. I wouldn't ever even, that's why I don't even sell these things anymore. I don't like to sell watches that I don't like stand behind or feel good about in some way. I don't feel good about that. It makes me, I don't know. It like rocks my entire idea of the world just to think about that. But nonetheless, they're very cool watches. Nobody was a bigger proponent of early Journe than I was. So who knows, but I'm out on it for now. Let's see here. Da-da-da. How do I handle sales? I don't really understand that question. If you want to elaborate on it, I'm happy to try to answer, but I don't know. How do I handle sales? Do I think independent brands should release more women's watches? No. I don't think the women's watch market is its own whole weird world. I mean, it would be totally cool if there was a woman independent watchmaker who made stuff that was good. I think that would be awesome. I'm not sure that women are interested in this area. I've only come across one woman ever that was particularly interested in this independent watch world. And she was only interested in men's watches. She never wanted the one that was kind of like made for women. In fact, she would buy, like 48 millimeter crazy complicated things with no care for the actual like ergonomics of it on a woman's wrist. She just thought they were cool. But that's obviously the exception rather than the rule. So no, the coolest thing about independent watchmaking is that you have a creator who is making basically the watch that they wish existed in the world. It's like what they themselves want. So I don't think as long as those creators are mostly men, then I don't think it makes much sense to make women's watches. But yeah, get women watchmakers going the independent route and recruiting independent watch-loving women, and then that would be cool. But I know there's been some whole thing with Hodinkee and Kara, and they're all talking about women's watch. Like I saw it on Clubhouse. Also, people are. I don't generally have an interest in any of that. I don't know. I have a skinny wrist. I wish that I could wear a lot of bigger watches. I don't really think of anything as gendered anyway in this. It's like the weird little diamondy watches. Those have been kind of out of style for a while. But whatever. Find what you like. Until a bunch of women are knocking down my door trying to get interested in independent watchmaking, then I just don't think that the market is there. At some point, there has to be interest, which unfortunately there isn't. Hopefully they'll, if this is what, Hodinkee has the power to drive this sort of interest. So if they're going in that direction, that would be awesome. Hopefully they can find women, that are interested. Let's see. Am I interested in Japanese independents? I don't really know that much about them. I haven't seen that much. I haven't seen anything particularly great. I have nothing. I don't care at all where a watch is made. So that's part of the thing with this Richard Mille lookalike $1,500 tourbillon thing. I really don't care that it's made in China. If it's really cool and it's $1,500, then great. So sure, Japan, China, Vietnam, America, make a watch wherever, as long as the price reflects the craftsmanship and you tell a good story behind it, then it's all good for me. If I could do a custom project with any watchmaker, who would it be? You know what I've been thinking lately? I don't know that this is really the answer. I'd probably come up with something different if I had time to really think about it. But I had an Urwerk 210 that I sold that I used to wear a lot, and I miss it. And then they made that the Urwerk 100 in yellow gold, the kind of C3PO looking thing. I just sold one about a month ago. And they also made the 210, I forget the name that they call it, whatever it is, but they made a bracelet version in steel. I would love a 210 in yellow gold on a yellow gold bracelet. That would be like totally the coolest thing to me. That's what I would commission if I could commission something today. But I don't know, maybe there's a better answer. Let's see. How do I sell my watches online without the fear of the people ripping sellers off? Well, this is the good thing about being a known dealer is, I only accept wire transfers. So you wire me, I send you a watch. It's pretty easy. I mean, the odds of anybody getting screwed are very, very low. Wires are basically non-returnable, and I'm not. There's no real incentive to me to destroy my own entire business to steal one payment for one watch. So it's pretty well covered for everybody, and obviously wouldn't have made it in this business if I were not an honest person. But this is generally why the sort of etiquette with watches is that dealers always either get the money or get the merchandise first versus private customers. So if you buy from me, you wire me first. If I buy from you, you send your watch to me first, because I have a lot more to lose in the transaction than some random person. The way that the like law enforcement system is right now, it's very hard to get any sort of redress on some issue that happens. So let's say you're just a random guy, and let's say I were to send you the watch first and then you didn't wire me. Well, now I've got to like somehow call law enforcement in Cleveland, Ohio, and get who knows what served or do whatever. It's like I'm screwed. Like I'm going to be screwed in that transaction. Versus on the other side, I have my entire reputation, my entire business, basically my whole life on the line, and it all rides on my reputation. So that's why dealers get the sort of courtesy. It's not really even a courtesy. It is backed by the fact that we have a lot more to lose than a private customer in the transaction. So that's how it works, but it keeps it really easy. I don't monkey around with anything. It's just like, even with my best customers, they wire me, I send to them, they send to me, I wire them. It always goes like that. And it's just like in the many transactions that you do over time, it's not really worth taking any risks. I don't want to be dealing with the guy who, he's been great until that point, but he's on his last legs because he did, invested in Theranos or something, and now he's got to screw me out of it. It's not worth the headache. So I keep my business really simple, and I will routinely give up business if the deal is weird in any sort of way. It's just not worth it for me. Somebody, you think cash or money order in person is the best way to do business? That is definitely not true. Nobody will take cash in my business now. Nobody wants cash. Banks won't bank cash. I don't want a money order. I don't want to meet anybody. Security risk. Deal with a dealer that you trust. That's the best way to do business. If you're already going to cash or money order in person, you've got some super sketchy deal going on already. Do I do this full time? Absolutely. This is like more than full time. I'm like, my wife's yelling at me in the middle of the night to get off my phone. You've got every time zone to deal with, and I've got to buy and I've got to sell, and I make these videos and I do all my own photography, and I've got a lot going on. So it takes a lot of time just to be out there finding stuff to buy, finding buyers, making all this content. It's sort of more than full time. Have I had an opportunity to handle either of the new Grubel Sport pieces? I sold one. I don't know. I guess maybe it didn't end up on my site. I had a blue dialed version of the Balancier S. So it was on my Instagram at least. But I guess I never made a video of it. I should make a video of one. I guess it sold before I expected it to sell. So next one that comes in, I'll make a video. They're really, really cool. Super, super cool watch. Amazingly nice on the wrist. Really comfortable. Really wearable and usable. So I'll remember to make a video of the next one that comes in. Let's see. Fiona Kruger's work is amazing. Yeah, she's cool. It's not my own personal aesthetic, but also, as far as I know, she makes watches for men. So again, you don't really have that that thing that I'm talking about. I mean, what I think will be really interesting is when you have a really, really great independent watchmaker who makes watches for women, and then let's see if that can catch on. Colton, off IG. Good for you. I wish I were off IG. How much am I able to mark up and make a profit? Well, that's a bit personal, but I really shoot for like an overall 10% margin. So, you know, sometimes make more, sometimes make less, depending on the risk profile. You know, I have to build that in when I buy. But overall, if I can make 10%, I feel good about life. Any watches I want to see but haven't had the chance? Oh, there's so many watches. I don't really I'm not like out and about that much. There's some dealers that are like, they go to all the fairs and they go to all the retailers. They go to all the brands, and I'm a bit of a homebody. When I was working in the industry with MB&F, obviously I would have to do all that stuff and go everywhere, and I saw a lot more then. So from maybe 2005 to 2012 or so, I saw pretty much everything that there was. Now I kind of only see what I or my friends buy. But there's definitely a lot of watches that I'd like to see. I was just looking, I don't know if you've seen that the Hourglass is doing a some sort of exhibition in Singapore on kind of like the history of independent watchmaking or something. And they've gathered like all the most amazing independent watches. And they have some watches I would love to see. I've never seen a Dufour Grand Sonnerie, which to me is like the pinnacle of what anything could be. So I'd love to see one of those. They have the George Daniels Space Traveler pocket watch, which is, again, like grail amongst grails. I've never seen that in person. You know, several things like that. Thoughts about Laurent Ferrier? Love Laurent Ferrier. I mean, I've had some, I guess several, many, a lot. I've had a lot. A lot sounds the most right of them. I've had a lot of Laurent Ferriers. I heard that their business is doing better now. They were a little bit touch and go for a bit. They had kind of a slump and they were needing cash, but I think they've stabilized and they're doing pretty well. I was talking to a dealer friend the other day who said he's been selling them like crazy. So that's really good and healthy for everybody. They're maybe a little bit more classic than my own personal taste, but you know, I'm a maniac with an Urwerk EMC on his wrist. So, but you know, the quality is really good and the price point is really fair. All right, I'm probably going to shut it down for the day. We did our, what are we at? Half hour, something like that, 33 minutes. That's, I think, enough time for anybody. You don't need that much of me. Go back if you missed it. I did a full, I did a little demonstration of how the Urwerk EMC Time Hunter works in the beginning of this video. So when this goes up, you can rewatch it and you can see the watch a little bit. But yeah, it's been nice joining you guys. Please, if you're into Bitcoin, crypto stuff, go follow my new Instagram page. It's at TickTock Crypto. So it's not TickTocking, it's TickTock Crypto. I don't know if the name is any good or not good. It's hard to come up with a name, but that's the name. Every day I'm going to post a daily deal denominated in Bitcoin. Buy a watch from me. Toss me some Bitcoin. Come on, help me out. So yeah, hope you guys had fun. If you had any other questions, hold them until the next time. Don't put them in these comments because I don't want to answer them like that. So just make a mental note and I'll be back soon. So hit me then. Thanks.